Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please help me welcome one of my favorites, and it's been a year or so. Please welcome Rend Collective. How are we, lads?
We're doing fantastic, yeah.
Magic. Let's talk about the green screen behind. We didn't make. It's not a green screen. It's not a green screen just because.
What is the view behind us, Chris? I'm worried.
Well, we have an envelope we're going to give you at the end of the chat, and I don't know what the green screen is. You don't know. The video department is going to surprise us, and we're going to open an envelope and find out what we've been chatting in front of. So it could be anything.
I imagine it's nothing at all based on Irish iconography or mildly racist towards Irish people.
Well, if it's Irish, you don't need to touch it. It's green. Just roll.
Yeah, right.
Just
Let's
leave
just
it
leave
as is.
Yeah, we call it a screen back home.
It's a potato.
It's not very environmental either. That's great.
It's neutral.
Yeah.
We just call in Ireland. We just call it a screen. Yeah. That's great. That's comedy. So it could be a potato. You know, that would be what you're talking about.
That would be the sort of thing.
Sort
I
of
would
nonsense.
picture, but I mean, nobody at Joy FM would go down those.
No.
You guys are bigger than that.
That's for the podcast. Let's go. We've got a new album that's come out last year from Rend Collective. We're actually going to play a sampling of it coming up in just a little bit. So green screen will announce at the end what it was, but we also have this wheel here. Basically, just gives us a little bit of a direction for the chat. So, actually, let's just give that a go right here.
Come on, Chris.
Yeah.
Spin that wheel.
Oh, I see. I've
And
gone
you
for
spun
a
it too
long-winded-
hard. Yeah, you have.
Okay, what does that say?
Name that artist.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. All right, so
No, I think I'm good at this.
these are not singing. These are faith-based artists speaking.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm getting closer to my microphone here.
Okay.
So I've got some clips, and so this is for you to name who this is. This is going to be a harder one right out of the gate. It's a newer artist to our playlist.
Oh my gosh, do you think I know the Bible that well by now? I didn't know you were a new believer. Oh my Lord, I am brand new. An angel of the Lord let him out. Yes! Praise God.
Wow.
Oh my.
A generic American.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes. Generic American. Ben Fuller, who had the song Who Am I?
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well done, Ben.
Nice.
He sounded older.
I know.
He sounded almost like Bart Millard a wee bit.
Yeah.
Did you get a wee vibe? There was a Bart
Miller's dad, even.
Yeah, Bart.
Sad Bart Millard. Okay, here we go.
It just says, some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God.
Clearly not.
No,
American.
not an American this time.
It just says, some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God.
Although he says God at the end, which shows that that's not a
Is
full
it
accent.
sounds like someone who has been raised in America but has an accent.
Yeah, you can tell by the God. Like no one who has a real. That sounds Australian.
Yeah, it's those for King. It's Luke.
Yep.
Isn't
right.
it?
Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it's not Joel because I know him.
That's not an authentic Australian accent. You would say God.
God. Yeah.
God.
All right, let's go worship world here. This one's on the phone, so it's a little bit.
We're gonna get this
tricky,
quick.
tricky.
Can tell.
But I think I'm always been the kind of guy that looks back and in hindsight.
He said a lot of in hindsight. It's
Yeah.
hard to get it from one word.
Was that Cody?
No, West Coast.
But I think I'm always
Oh,
been
Philip?
the kind of guy.
Yeah, Phil.
Phil Wickham.
Phil
Was
Wickham.
that Phil Wickham?
Yeah.
He does not sound like himself there at all.
No,
It's
he's
the
no
phone.
vibrato.
I'm the kind of guy that looks back and in hindsight.
Oh, I can hear it now a wee bit.
Yeah.
But he's not as good looking with his voice. It's just his
No.
face makes
Well,
him good looking.
And then when he sings, he's all
Yeah,
the better
very
again.
good looking.
And,
Again,
and
yeah.
brushes the hair.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's
Slow-mo.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. This isn't a good story for this place.
Oh yeah, this is no. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to hear it.
Well, we played a festival with him in England called Big Church Day Out, and it had these massive like iMag screens, and he was wearing a tank top because it's the summer. And for the whole thing, his guitar strap had dragged his tank top to the right.
Yes,
That's a great
and
story.
he was exposed, and apparently it was his best merch day ever.
Didn't we do one festival where I introduced him as he's never won a Grammy or a Dove for anything except the sexiest worship leader of all time.
That's true. And then he went on to win quite a few.
He did after that.
Accolades. Yeah,
That
yeah.
seemed to be then the start. Sorry,
of all
Phil.
the artists to have that happen to, he's not the guy that I would picture practically shirtless on stage. He doesn't.
I know he wouldn't do it to himself.
Yeah,
But yet, I mean, it was great.
it was
Great
an act.
viewing.
You can't
Great
trust those West Coasters, though, Jay. You know
Sandy
what I mean? They'll
Oggins.
have their shirts off
Yeah.
anytime they can.
Wait, so was Phil Wickham's was it on a giant screen?
Yes.
Oh,
it was.
okay.
And I'll say the nice thing about it being Phil Wickham as opposed to say somebody from our neck of the woods is that it wasn't like a completely different color. You know what I mean? Like his chest was the same color.
Oh,
as his arm. Whereas we would just be a
farmer's
massively,
tan?
like,
Yeah,
ghostly
yeah.
white, like a
Yes.
newborn fish.
Yeah, that's a good guy for that to happen. He's been on a beach recently,
Yeah.
kind of a vibe. Okay, well done. Okay, you guys did very well at that. Let's go
Thank
ahead and
you.
give her another go. Gareth's like,
Oh,
thank you.
yeah, spin her up there, Chris.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
get so excited this time. Oh, that was really okay. We get a prize.
Prize. Okay, yeah, let's do
Prize?
this.
Cash prize?
Who can get out of their seat better?
probably
'Cause-
can.
Okay, Chris, behind you is a white closet door,
There is.
and there's a few gifty poos in there that you can grab. Grab one that you like.
Oh, Gareth, what kind of shape?
I've
got a cylinder.
Yes, cylinder.
Gareth, name a shape. Didn't think you'd be answering those questions on shapes today.
No,
did
no,
you?
that was I left my children at home. That looks fun. Do we get to open this?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
That's
brilliant.
we just hate having people in and never giving back. You know.
Okay.
Thanks. That's
Oh, that is nice. I need a few light bulbs. Do you need a few light bulbs?
I mean, sure.
You always need light bulbs.
That's great. And
Are they
a
LED?
massive packet of
They are
AA
LED.
batteries.
Yeah.
Which is the most practical gift ever.
That is expensive. That's like a $20 gift there.
Yeah.
You guys are bankrolling this whole
Spankers.
gosh, you guys are nailing
Spare
this.
no expense.
Thank you to all you donors out there on the pledge drives for this Duracell battery pack.
And you can call now with your gift.
You can see we give the money towards odd things.
It's all for the kingdom.
Yeah, amen.
All right. So that was one of the things on the wheel. Let's go with let's go. I've got it.
Can
I've
we
got
spin? No.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we don't want you choosing. The whole point of
Yeah,
the
that's
spinner
true.
is you don't get to
That's
choose,
true.
Jay.
Let's let the wheel
If
decide.
we walk
you know.
out here with 10 gifts,
It went to Faith.
All right.
There
Let's
you go.
do one here. We are required by the Federal Communications to include faith on a faith-based channel. So
it seems quite necessary.
yeah. Okay, this would be good for you guys. Let's say you're in a worship service and all the pastors become ill and don't show up, and somebody has to speak to these people. This is actually a serious question, not hey, the pastors got sick.
Okay.
But what is something you guys have gone through spiritually that you're like, oh, I could totally get up there for 30 minutes and speak from the heart on this because I've gone through it, you know? You don't
Gosh.
need notes or anything on this topic.
Well, we don't use notes for anything. If
No,
you prepare, it gets worse.
Right.
That's what we have learned. You got to fly by the seat of your pants. I don't know anything, Chris. There's quite a few things. I think you go through a lot. I think
Yeah.
anybody could talk for 30 minutes, whether it would be good or not.
Yeah.
That would be the thing. I mean, what we talk about a lot is trying to find joy in the middle of the struggle. And I would say probably for me, if we're talking about like a life event, that kind of is something that I would speak about. During 2020, my son was diagnosed with autism, and that was a real struggle for my wife and I, and trying to find joy within that, and trying to find an authentic way to express even our grief about that within the context of spirituality. It has been really hard. Christianity's, the way that we do it, is really good at celebrating. It's really good at coming up with very quick answers, but it's not very good at just sitting with sadness. And actually, the trouble with that is that without really experiencing sadness, we don't get to the real joy. We just wind up having a couple of fake surface emotions. And I would say that would be something I could probably talk about for half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Probably something I could get up and talk on, I think, is probably risk and faith. Like, I think how we got here and how we're doing what we're doing was for sure a risk. Whenever you step out into nothingness and you trust God and you believe that He's leading you, I think that's pretty much been our journey. I probably looking back on it, it's hard for me to really process all of the times we just went, just stick it all in and let's trust God. But if you're not doing that, if you're not actually living on the edge of faith and trust and pushing yourself out of those comfort zones, it just gets really boring and monotonous. And that's something I've kind of noticed, like in my own personal life, is when it starts to get really boring and monotonous, which of course it has done over the last few years, you just start to lose your mind a wee bit. It's not really what we're built for. So I think I get up and talk on faith, stepping out, risking, trying the old water thing. It's okay to fail, go under the water. If someone had told me when I was 18 that failure is a pathway to greater things rather than going down the toilet bowl, I would have really appreciated that.
Yeah, right.
I'd love somebody to tell me that.
Definitely. Or even I'm like suffering. If you would have told me that suffering is going to be one of the greatest, you don't know now,
Right.
but it's going to be one of the greatest things that you will ever experience because of what you get on the other side of it, I would have laughed if somebody said that to me. Or you're crazy.
Right.
None of us want a dose of it, but later you're like, oh, I became a different human when I survived that.
Pushed to the edge.
Yeah. Can you walk me? The album from Rend Collective came out last year, but the song Hallelujah Anyway, or Anyways, anyway. Now I'm not sure which one's real.
It is just anyway. The
Anyway.
anyways is a joke.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's about what I was just talking about. It's trying to find a way to worship whenever things aren't going perfectly. Sometimes it's actually difficult to find songs that put, I guess, realistic language around what we experience. Most of our lives are spent, I guess, either in some combination of struggle or trial. We don't have that many mountaintop moments. That's why they're mountaintop moments. And so if we don't work out how to worship in the middle of difficult things, we'll actually just never really work out how to worship. And that's what this song's about. It's about saying hallelujah anyway, no matter what the enemy throws at you, no matter what life throws at you. It's about finding that voice within it.
How long have you guys been living stateside now in some form or another?
7, 8 years.
7 or 8.
Right. Sound right.
Well,
And the Northern Irish, just I love the way eight's a great word and iron are great words.
Iron. Try myrrh.
Iron.
Myrrh is another good one.
Myrrh.
Yeah.
Tile.
I
still remember you guys telling me when you tried to order pizza one day, they thought it was a prank.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings. I still hold it against them. But it doesn't stop me eating their salt and vinegar wings, which are unbelievable.
Yeah.
They are the good ones.
Let's go with sorry. All right, when when you guys do go back home, when folks in Northern Ireland hear that you guys are living here, what's the stereotypical thing you have to defend us on? If you do defend us, maybe you join in and go, "Oh, you're right."
No, we throw you under the bus for sure.
Yeah. We stick with whatever people were with.
Yeah.
That's how Irish people have survived throughout the millennia. I suppose there is a lot of, one of the things I always say to people is there's no such thing as an American, because an American sounds like you've picked a group of, like, that's it. Like, there is such a thing as Irish people,
right?
But there's no such thing as an American, because you go to like New York and then you go down to New Orleans and then you hop over to Sacramento and you're like, these are totally different people. Like you might as well just be in different countries. They all speak English, they all have the same sort of news and television, but in terms of like personality, like, they're New York people are seen to be rude. Then you come to the South and everybody's so friendly to your face. And like, there's all those sorts of things. So I would say there's no such thing as an American.
You're right, because when you think about it, when you look at the distance between Brussels and Paris and Cologne is like so small, but yet totally different foods, music, history. Yeah. And you look at the States and they are these small different cultures, but they all are under one roof and we pretend we all agree on the same thing. So I guess it's no surprise that we all don't get along sometimes because we're different countries. Sort of.
I read recently that the factor in that, the reason why there's so many different dialects and so many different things within such a small space is just about time. So America's going to get there.
Yeah.
Culture develops over time.
True.
Like there will in 1,000 years' time, there's going to be like a deep-rooted Texas culture that has nothing to do with its neighbors.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you possibly say also that travel, like you couldn't go
Oh,
very far,
yeah.
like on a horse and cart? Where how are you going to get from Paris to Cologne? Like, it's going to take you too long.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got your
Yeah.
automobiles, but you see, people also. Here's another one for you.
Yeah.
We had this stereotype of Americans that were always obnoxious and complaining and loud and rude.
Yeah.
It turned out that they were just from a certain place in America who had enough money to come to Ireland, and also probably had a point, because there was no AC and there is no AC in Ireland. And if I go home now, I get grumpy and complain. So we
Not that
defend
bad after all, are we?
Yeah, you're all great.
No, you're making a lot of sense.
I
love yous.
I still remember living in Dublin, and I was so excited when Notre Dame would come play at Croke Park, because I was so homesick that when Notre Dame would come play a football game against Navy in downtown Dublin, I was like, oh, the Americans are here. And I walked into downtown Dublin, and the first thing I saw was an obnoxious American that had climbed the street sign with his shirt off, going woo, like he was riding a horse. And I just turned around. I'm like, I can't fake an Irish accent. They're gonna think I'm one of them. It was obnoxious.
Back to the locals.
Yeah,
I don't know though, Jay. That could have been an Irish person just as
That's
much.
true.
Let's be honest.
It sounded suspicious.
he got a hold of a Notre Dame hat.
It's only obnoxious when they're English. That's the only
Right.
time.
That's great. Okay, you guys will have fun with this one. We've landed on fantasy question here to wrap. The concept of a mansion in heaven. It gets mentioned a lot. It talks about diamonds and rubies and emeralds, and it's got like gems involved in it. And apparently, what you do on Earth determines a big mansion as well. But we don't really break that down too much. We don't think about it too much. Do you think it's already put together? Like when you roll up and it's like, or is it an errand? Like, here's all the parts, like IKEA furniture.
Oh gosh.
And you have all of
That's
eternity.
the catch.
Yeah. The bigger your house,
this whole time.
the bigger your house, the bigger the errand.
No construction skills.
There's the pieces. Go for it.
Yeah. Is it furnished? Will we have a need to sit in heaven? Or is it a blank, empty space?
I'm really hoping it's like a new build where I can just walk in.
Yeah. Or is it
not
all
really have to-
metaphorical, perhaps? A house.
Well,
That's nowhere near as fun.
yeah.
Well, sorry, I mean, certainly yes.
Yeah.
But I would like it to be like a sort of Hansel and Gretel situation if I was being asked.
Yeah.
Do you know where the house is kind of embellished with candies?
Yeah.
That you
Of
don't
the
put
world.
weight on. I
Like a gingerbread house? that I could live in?
yeah, but not gingerbread, because when you eat those gingerbread houses at Christmas, they're bogging.
Why did it? I mean, shortbread house?
Shortbread houses.
There's
are
no
amazing.
reason to make it ginger.
I know. No, you're right. There is no reason, but I don't know if they really know how to make shortbread over here.
Fair
the
enough.
same way. It's
There's
amazing.
no reason to make it. I love how serious this is.
That's
Why
what
would
God thought about humanity.
That's-
But then it happened anyway.
No reason.
when shortbread is out there and you're still choosing ginger, no one likes
What's wrong
gingerbread.
with you? You guys know about
Yeah.
cookies. You're fine.
Yeah.
Like, you've got this. You could, like cookie house.
You could at least
You've done
try.
Yeah.
You could definitely at least. Do you know much about Minecraft?
Oh yeah. My
Do you
son.
imagine that? Yeah, for most dads whose kids play Minecraft, do you imagine maybe heavens like that where you go around with a pickaxe and the diamonds are there, and then you got to build the stuff?
Yeah, possibly.
Let's roll
One person ruined this question for me because they broke down. Oh no, Jesus says there's many rooms in my house, but He is the house. And I was like, well, that's not very fun. Where am I
Don't
going to
wanna live
live?
in Jesus' house? I don't want to be like a tenant. I want to slide into my living room from my bed.
Yeah, into a pool of nacho cheese or something crazy.
bless
It's like
Would
the
be
sort of
the
thing
name.
I would have at Google headquarters. That's it. Just living like that.
Heaven on earth,
Yeah,
I believe that is.
There's a
That's
large
that's
bean bag in my future.
It's a prophetic answer.
All right, we'll put a pin in all this for now. Let's go ahead and open. Let's find out what we've been talking in front of here. The green screen. We don't know what this is. So,
Okay. Okay, just
Crack
opening
it
an
open.
envelope
Yep.
here for all you folks here listening.
which is most of you. All right.
All right.
Meat packing plant.
Oh,
Meat packing plant. Are we talking, when you say meat, are we talking like red meat? Are we talking pigs?
What
What are we talking here?
I was picturing like the cows hanging from
Yeah,
the
but
hooves.
is it cows or pigs?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Fascinating, isn't it? What a great. I mean, that's definitely randomly generated, I would say.
I'd say
That had
it is.
no
Yeah.
anti-Irish sentiment whatsoever.
Right. So we're safe here. Good. If it was lamb.
And we're
I know what you're trying to do there.
Unless it's a plant. You know,
it's a meat packing.
yeah, as in like what do you call those
Shamrock.
guys? These fellas. One
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
fellas.
I'm gonna go with it was generically generated. Yeah.
A Venus
Venus
flytrap.
flytrap.
Thank you so much there from the cheap seats have told us the answer to that question.
Hey, it's great seeing you guys. It's been too long, and appreciate you making a stop in.
Very glad to be here. I'm glad you're all surviving and doing well.
Rend Collective, thank you very much for dropping by.
Thank you all.
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.